Support for WCBU's On Deck comes from Jaguar Land Rover Peoria on Allen Road, offering personalized service to customers from their first visit to the store to when they drive their new Land Rover home. More at jaguarlandroverpeoria.com.
Peoria Township voters have an unexpected question on their November ballots. That's just one of the things you'll want to hear about to start your day for Wednesday, May 8th. I'm Colin Shope, and this is WCBU's On Deck. First on deck today, there's now more than $1 billion worth of deferred maintenance needs at state historic sites managed by the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. WCBU's Tim Shelley tells us how this impacts one Henry County community.
Residents of the village of Bishop Hill worry state funding may not come in time to save the community's unique 19th century Swedish-American heritage. The Illinois Department of Natural Resources is responsible for maintaining 4 buildings there. That includes the Bishop Hill Colony Church, recently listed as one of the state's 10 most endangered historic places by Landmarks Illinois. John Taylor is a business owner in Bishop Hill and a historic preservation advocate. He says the properties need major attention.
Eventually, we're going to get to a point where it may not be able to be saved.
The DNR is a $22 million 2-phase renovation plan drafted for Bishop Hill, but there's no timeline for the project. Quinn Adamowski is the Regional Advocacy Director for Landmarks Illinois.
The issue with state historic sites, I think in general, is just that there's limited resources, and the IDNR has done the best that they can with what they have, and they clearly need more.
The agency works with the Governor's Budget Office and the State Capital Development Board to obtain project funding. The amount available varies each year. For WCBU's On Deck, I'm Tim Shelley.
Here are some other stories we're following in the WCBU newsroom. Peoria City Manager Patrick Urich says he hopes a meeting this week with GFL representatives will make progress on creating a new landfill. And the City of Washington and its Public Works Employees Union have a new 3-year contract agreement. Plus, another elected official is not on board with using public money for a new stadium for the Chicago Bears. Find more of these stories and all the details at WCBU.org. Residents of Peoria Township face an unusual question down ballot this November. Would they support the adoption of ranked choice voting in Illinois? The question is non-binding, but it does take a temperature check on the public's sentiment towards the policy. You might remember the similar question on independent legislative redistricting that township voters approved by a 3-to-1 margin back in 2022. Dr. Tara Lee Davis is an assistant professor of public law and American politics at Bradley University. She says the easiest way to explain ranked choice voting is to think of it as an instant runoff election. Runoffs are secondary elections triggered when no candidate in a contest reaches the threshold of votes needed to claim victory. Davis says ranked choice voting removes the need for a runoff by essentially asking voters to make that choice the first time they step into the booth.
You have one ballot, but instead of just voting for one candidate, you rank your candidates in order of your preference. And then when they go to count all the votes, they look, and if one candidate has received over 50%, the round's over, and we have a winner.
If no candidate is over 50%, the lowest candidate is eliminated and percentages are recalculated. This continues as long as it needs to, until one candidate exceeds that 50% share.
One of the main, positive aspects of this is that the runoff happens instantly to where taxpayers aren't paying for another runoff.
Illinois doesn't have runoffs in the primary or general elections, but they have proven costly in states that do. The 2021 Senate runoffs in Georgia cost taxpayers $10 million. On the local election level, the city of Kyle, Texas spent almost $13,000 on a runoff election the same year. Proponents of ranked choice voting, like Sheldon Schaefer of the Peoria chapter of the Illinois Green Party, believe the system would increase voter participation and civility in election contests. Schaefer was the spokesperson introducing the question to the November ballot at April's township meeting, where it passed 99 to 56.
If you smear the opponents, you're sort of putting an odd roadblock in that process because you don't want to be smeared either. You want to be at least the second choice, if not the first choice.
However, not everyone is sold on the proposed benefits of ranked choice voting. Tazewell County Clerk John Ackerman is a member of the state's Ranked Choice and Voting Systems Task Force, appointed by Minority Leader of the House, Republican Tony McCombie.
Nowhere in the United States is it used completely for ballot checks. So then what race are you talking about? Some states have it for congressional. Some states have it for municipalities. Those are two completely different styles of races impacting two dramatically different groups of individuals.
Based on testimony given to the task force, Ackerman believes implementation of ranked choice voting would ultimately be more expensive due to the need for ongoing voter education on the process. He also argues that the system takes away voter choice.
When you're ranking that many, I accidentally put two people down for number two. Well, throw your ballot out. That one doesn't count. And that's the disenfranchisement of where you're silencing individuals' votes.
Ackerman says he's also concerned by some of the technological upgrades that would be needed to conduct ranked choice voting, specifically the software that would manage the instant runoffs.
In a day and era where we have individuals and we are so aggressively promoting the transparency, the ability to come in and see the process play out, to be able to see where every vote was cast and how it was cast, now all of a sudden trust the box in the corner.
Supporters like Sheldon Schaefer say they don't consider a software upgrade to be a, quote, insurmountable impediment. He does acknowledge the concerns of skeptics like Ackerman, but...
And I think, we trust our computer systems with the initial round. Why would they be less trustworthy for the runoff round?
It remains to be seen what recommendations the state task force will make. Their report is expected out by the end of the month. Now, before we let you go, an opportunity to indulge your artistic and athletic sides tonight at Tres Rojas Winery. It's $30 to sip and paint a canvas with a St. Louis Cardinals or Chicago Cubs logo. That event starts at 6:15 p.m. And that's all for today. You can subscribe to WCBU's On Deck podcast on the NPR app, Apple, or Spotify.